Authorities are embarking on an intensified law enforcement operation at Maseru Border Post. It's between the Free State and Lesotho. The operation, which is aimed at strengthening border security during the holidays, will be led by the BMA. The plan entails strengthening multi-layered security interventions. Watching developments there is SABC News reporter Kamogelo, Seekeoi, who joins us now live. And it'll be very interesting to see, Kamogelo, the kind of technological interventions that are implemented there, given the BMA's plans, at least as conveyed earlier this year.
Well, of course, I under the technological innovations that are being implemented at the borders here in Lesotho and South Africa are very important. But there are some issues that have been raised by the Portfolio Committee on Justice when it came here a couple of weeks ago, where it discovered that some of these technological advances that you're talking about have not yet been implemented. We were told on that particular day that there are devices that have been bought by the BMA, but those devices have not yet been in operation at the moment. So we are going to hear, of course, from the Commissioner when he comes out of his briefing about how far they are with those devices that were procured. We were told that they run into about 20 million rand that was spent on those devices, but the Portfolio Committee did say that some of the shortcomings that are here at the border are quite immense, and they have an impact, on border security. But I just want to quickly step out of shot just to allow my colleague Sepo Muime to show you what is going on at the moment. There isn't really high traffic at the moment here at the border. As you can imagine, that people will start traveling for Christmas holidays starting from tomorrow, and obviously today being a Friday, we'll start seeing an increase in those vehicles that will be crossing to Lesotho. But where we are standing right now is on the South African side, and these vehicles that you see in the shot are vehicles that are traveling from South Africa into Lesotho. But I just want to give you, Ayanda, a few stats that we were given by an organization that advocates for farmers here in the Free State agriculture about this border, not necessarily the Maseru border, but the border line between South Africa and Lesotho is about 400 kilometers, and there are 8 official ports of entry. But what was interesting from that information that was given to us is that they have discovered that there are 64 illegal points that are used by Lesotho residents to cross into South Africa. And part of the reason that there's so many of these illegal entry points that they use is because there isn't really a physical fence, that is between the two countries. What separates the two countries is the Caledon River or mountains, so people find it quite easy to actually cross either between the mountains or cross the river into South Africa. But I just want to also bring in the spokesperson for the Border Management Authority, Memogotsi, just to talk to us about what is expected today. I know that at the moment the Commissioner is still in a briefing just to talk about the situation here at the Maseru Border Post, which is not one but the biggest port of entry among the 8 entries that I mentioned earlier. Just talk to us about what is going to be taking place here today.
Yes, Kamo, thank you for having me. What is happening here today is that the Commissioner of the Border Management Authority, Dr. Maseru, has decided to embark on a monitoring visit in terms of law enforcement operations. He commenced his day yesterday at the Fixback Bridge port of entry, and he spent the whole day there, and he moved to Caledon's port of entry. And today it's important that we make our operations here, we come and conduct them here at the Maseru Bridge port of entry, which is one of the busiest as well, that will be facilitating movements. As you know that today it is a Friday, most companies are closing, and then we're expecting a surge in terms of movement of people and goods. So we are here with our immigration port health officials. We are working closely with the Defence Force. We are working with the South African Police Service just to ensure that operations are going according to plan. But what is important is for us to facilitate legitimate movement. So we expect travelers as they come here to have the required documents. We will be monitoring that is enforced so that we don't have illegality and illegal movements that is happening here at the border. You would remember on the 7th of December when Commissioner Maseru Border addressed the nation on the festive season operations, that it was highlighted in that briefing by him that Basotho National remain the highest in terms of interceptions, in terms of our records movement. Yeah. So it is a concerning matter. We need to look at the vulnerable areas as to what are the issues for the Basotho Nationals to be continue to be the highest to be intercepted. We understand that they remain without documents. Most of them is undocumented. Others are overstayers who have exceeded the days that they are allocated. So we are here as well on an educational drive to ensure that information is shared in terms of the requirements and hear from the travelers themselves what the challenges are.
Thank you so much for your time. I'm sure that we'll be able to hear more from the Commissioner as soon as he completes his briefing. Ayanda, that was the spokesperson for the BMA representing the organization here. Of course, we'll hear more when the Commissioner comes out of that briefing and what is expected. But as I mentioned earlier, there are 64, which is quite an alarming number of ports that people are using illegally to enter the country. But we will hear from the Commissioner in terms of how they are ensuring that they increase staff, because that is one of the areas that was also highlighted, to say that there aren't enough officials that are operating the borders, not just the Maseru border, but all the borders, including the Fixback one, including the Kwakwa one, and the Vepenar area as well, that the BMA has to increase even police officers that are operating here at the borderline between South Africa and Lesotho. Those numbers need to be increased. As we were told by Free State Agriculture, there are only 9 posts that are being used by the South African National Defence Force along the 400-kilometer stretch of the borderline. So you can just imagine how many people are needed to ensure that those areas that do not have a fence where people are using to enter the country are also protected. But we'll hear from the Commissioner and hear what are their plans. With that, is back to you.
So Kamogelo, Seekeoi, live to us there from the Maseru Border post between the Free State and Lesotho. For now, thanks very much indeed.